Hi, this is Gabe from FluentForever.com. In this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to use the model deck to learn abstract words and grammar. These are things you can't simply learn using a picture. So, to start, we'll play around with the word couramment. This is fluent in French. I'll search for some example sentences using this neat script I talked about in tutorial 4. So we'll go couramment and hit return, and poof, we have a bunch of information about couramment. Now, looking at the Google Images results, I see a bunch of relatively normal sentences in that the word is roughly what I expect it to be. If you can speak English fluently, si vous pouviez parler anglais couramment, they're all kind of about language, and so this word means what I expect it to mean. And I kind of like this example. She speaks gibberish fluently in a dozen languages. Elle parle la charabia couramment dans une dizaine de langues. And so I'm going to use this sentence, this original French sentence, as my example sentence to learn this word couramment. And so I'll copy it. The way you do that is basically you mouse over the original, the Google translated text, you select all this stuff, you select the French sentence that you want to select by dragging, and then you copy it. To copy on a Mac, you're going to hit Command-C, on a PC, Control-C, or you can go to the edit. Actually, you can't really go to the edit. You actually have to use the keyboard command, because once you move your mouse, it's gone. Command-C is what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to go into Anki. And so we're going to hit Add, as we do usually. And for type, you're going to want to have selected the all-purpose card. This is basically the card you're going to use as soon as you have enough vocabulary to handle it, which is pretty much as soon as you finish doing the first 625 words in your language. So we'll select the all-purpose card. And I have this sentence copied, and so what I'm going to do is drop it right here at the full sentence, no words blanked out. And I'm going to paste it also right over here. This front area, this very first field, is for an example sentence where one of the words is blanked out. Or missing. We'll talk about the missing thing later. And so in this case, since I'm using it for couramment, I will select this and write over it with something. I like to use underscore underscore. And I'll always do 2. I'll always do 2 to make it consistent so that this little, I'm not going to have exactly the number of slots for the right number of letters. I don't want to give myself any clues. And so right now I have this example sentence. I have a blank. At this point it's asking me for a picture, and so why not use this one? I will right click on this picture, I'll select copy image, and I will paste it right over here. Paste. And so now I have this sort of illustrated example sentence. She speaks gibberish. I remember seeing this on Google Images. This is right now a very effective card. And the last thing I really need is on the back side of the card, I need to have the word. Without any context, I just want the single word, couramment. Now if I look at these cards, what I'm going to see basically is I will see this sort of blanked out example sentence. I'm going to see this picture of her. And on the back of the card I will see the word couramment. And I also, because this is the first time I'm learning this word, I want another card that just says couramment. Alone, without any context, and my job is to think of some example, not necessarily even this one, just some example that uses this word in context. And so that's basically it, except that we have a few more fields to look at. This front field is for definitions. We'll talk about base word in a second, but definitions. I talk about this in chapter 6 of the book. If your French is at a level where you can handle French definitions of the word, in this case, for instance, we have a Wiktionary thing for couramment. The English translation is terrible here. In a manner common with ease, but d'une manière courante, avec facilité, in a manner that's sort of running, that sort of goes on with ease, yeah, facilité, ease, sure. And it gives some example sentences you can read, or lire, écrire couramment, you can speak fluently. If this sentence makes some sense to you, this is not completely foreign and weird and a bunch of nonsense words, then you can start using these monolingual definitions in your flashcards as well. And these are sort of the ultimate word cards because they show you so many facets of the word. They show you exactly what a French person thinks of when they think of this word. And so you can add this to it, and that will show up here. It gives you a sentence with a blank in it. It gives you the definition of the word. At this point, there's no more doubt as to what this word could be. There's only one word that fits in this slot with this definition. And so as soon as I can add this kind of content, I do. And so that goes here. This is where the definition of a word would go. Extra info, if I have just some things to write about this, couramment, if this has some personal connection to me, my grandmother, we call her Bobby, she speaks everything fluently. She's she speaks everything. And so I will put this sort of personal connection over here. If this was a verb, I might stick some conjugations here. If I really wanted to, I could stick sound files in here too, or IPA. But at this level, at the point where I'm starting to learn sentences and things, my goal is to not have to deal with that. My goal is to just be couramment, is to be good enough at the pronunciation system of the language that I don't need to worry about pronunciation at this stage. The other thing over here is this make to cards section. Generally, you're going to want to have something in this box. The reason for this, what this does, is that if there's nothing in this box, hitting the add button will make one flashcard. That flashcard will be this flashcard. And this is a very useful flashcard, except that if this is the first time I see a word, if this is the first time I'm learning couramment, I'm going to want to have one flashcard that just says that word alone. So this card alone, if I only have this card, it's really only useful for adding additional definitions to a word that I've already learned. And so I do actually want this card. And to make this card, all I have to do is put something in this box. Anything. And just for organization's sake, I usually say just stick in a Y if you do want to make the card, and leave it blank if you don't. I have a test spelling field here. Honestly, you almost never use it, not at this stage of a language. You could potentially use it for things like Mandarin or Japanese, where you always need to know spelling, where the kanji or hanzi symbols have nothing to do really with the pronunciation of the word. But I use a different deck for that, and so if you want to check that out, go to the website. There's a thing about logograms, about languages that use logograms like Chinese and Japanese, that uses a slightly different model deck that I think is a little better suited for this. So leave this field blank. Now, this card is basically done. This is going to make me two cards, one that just says couramment, one that says this sentence with a blank in it and this picture, and this is very good for me. I mean, this is enough to learn this word. Now, at this point, let's look at some other things I can do. What if parle, this part of to speak, she speaks gibberish fluently. What if parle is new to me? Suppose that I know parler, to speak, but this form is new to me. And so to learn a new word form, this is a new type of flashcard, but very, very similar, I will blank this out. I'll blank out the word parle, and I'm going to put the base word form, the infinitive in this case. I can also use this for base forms of adjectives, when adjectives inflect, or for nouns, like in Russian, or in any sort of, in a language where there's plural. Basically, the word that I know already, the base form, it goes here. And then the new form, the word form I'm trying to learn, goes on the back. And so, in terms of a picture, I will choose something else with someone speaking. I can just search for that in English, it's not a problem. Person speaking. Great. Just the first one that comes to mind. And at this point we'll get rid of this personal connection, because I'm looking for some connection with to speak, and there may not even be a personal connection that I need at this point. At this point, this is the flashcard I'm looking at. It gives me parler in red, and it basically tells me stick this word in that slot, and it probably will change. And it does, and it changes to parle, just like that. In this case, I will also probably want this word, this card, where it basically shows me an inflected word or a conjugated verb, and asks me, what is this? What kind of place does it fit into? And so your job is to think, okay, this word is a form of the verb parler, and it's a form that works with elle. So moving on to the next field, over here I have this extra info field again, where I could put the pronunciation if I need it. I don't at this stage. I can put a personal connection, although I already have one for parler. For word form cards, I tend to skip over personal connections. And conjugations, and in this case conjugations are kind of handy. It's nice to see where does this fit in the grand scheme of various conjugations. And so I can just copy and paste that from some website. Wordreference.com has a nice copy and pastable conjugation chart for basically any verb you want for French. And so I can look at the present tense verb forms, select them, copy them, and just drop them over here. And this is fine. These are some conjugations of the verb parler. Again, I will want to make two cards because I do want to have this card, this one where all I see is parle, and have to think, well, where does this fit in? And that's basically it. Again, I'm probably not going to use the test spelling card. And so this is how you make word form cards. You stick the original word form on the front, you stick this new word form that you're trying to learn on the back, and you blank out the sentence that uses that new verb form. And you pick some new picture. And generally, do switch up the pictures as much as you can. It does tend to help. And the last type of card I want to show you is a word order card. I want to show you what happens when you want to know where to stick this in a sentence. Is it elle parle couramment le charabia? Is it elle couramment parle? You know, in this case, it shows up at the end of the sentence, basically. And so I find that new and interesting, and I want to learn that. And so I will copy this sentence, paste it here, and I'm going to take out the word I think is interesting in terms of the placement. And so I will take this out and I will not leave a blank. I'm not going to put underscore underscore. And I'm going to put that word on the front over here. I'm going to pick a new picture. I think we were in Chrome. That's fine. They're all speaking, so you can just kind of keep reusing various images of speaking and things. And at this point, I'm actually almost done. I'm going to get rid of the make two cards thing. And I'll show you why in a second. And this produces the following. I have a sentence here. The sentence is Elle parle charabia dans une dizaine de langues. This sentence is missing a word. That word is right here, couramment. And so I need to basically stick the red word into the sentence somewhere. And that could go, you know, elle couramment parle, elle parle couramment, elle parle couramment charabia. Who knows? But the actual answer is going to be on the back. Elle parle charabia couramment. And this is the only card I need. It's the only card that makes any sense in this context. This won't be here. You'll see a blank. And so this is my word order card. This is how I learn where to stick words like this into sentences like this. And so to make this card, all I need to do is hit the add button. All I've done is taken a sentence, taken a word, put it here, left no trace of it in the original in this sort of example with the word missing, and hit the add button. At this point, I can look at my flashcards, and they all sort of make a certain kind of sense. Here's the one where I need to fit in word order, and so I'm going to stick couramment after charabia. I'm correct, and so I'm going to hit good. Elle what le charabia couramment? Elle parle, with just an E at the end. And I'm correct. And here is, look, a conjugation chart, just to see where that fits in. Look, it's the same as je and elle, il. Elle parle charabia, what's that word again? Here's the definition, d'une manière courante, in this sort of flowing manner with ease. That's the word couramment. And there, that's that. And then you start seeing these words with without any context. What is parle? Parle is je parle français. You know, that fits in that type of sentence. Oh, here's another example. Still, I thought about it correctly. I counted it as good. Couramment. This is that word for d'une manière courante, avec facilité. And I am correct. This is an example sentence with that word. and good. And so that's basically how you use Anki to learn things that are more abstract than just pictures. You can pretty much take in an entire language this way, at least take in the entire grammatical system of the language. And so that's how you build more complex flashcards in Anki.